My voice is very high-pitched and quite cutting. So, yeah, just letting you know.
Worry.
I don't have a deep voice like this. And I mean, I could talk.
You're listening to Serial Music Talks podcast. I'm your host, Živa, aka Lucia, and you're here to listen some really honest conversations I have with Melbourne musicians, music producers, sound designers about breaking into new markets, music hustle, imposter syndrome, writer's block, posting on social media, a lot of struggles. I feel like every time I talk with an artist, I catch them in the most busiest period. Is that modus operandi? I'm currently seated in the most amazing artist studio I've ever been so far. It's a studio by Mia Salsjö in East Brunswick. Actually, it's a studio within a space that's called Hayden's Gallery. If you haven't heard about it yet or visited, I highly recommend. It's an independently run gallery. I'm here to interview Mia Salsjö, an Australian artist and composer of Albanian and Swedish descent, grounded in complex code-based systems. Her multidisciplinary practice encompasses drawing, music composition, text, performance, video, and textile-based work. And by linking these diverse media through underlying linguistic systems, Mia's work reflects on the elusive and fluid nature of communication. I caught her in the middle of development of the new work, so I did my best not to waste her time and go straight into the core of her practice and approach. Are you a full-time artist?
Oh, I'm a full-time artist, but I'm also responsible when it comes to earning money. So I run my own commercial cleaning business, which supports my art practice. I also take up other kind of opportunities that are around my art practice as well, whether that's talking to VCE students, in rural areas, or, I do other extracurricular activities. My art is the first and foremost, and it requires all my energy. So I really don't have time to have a normal sort of 9-to-5 job. Otherwise, I couldn't achieve the amount of work that I do for projects. But the commercial cleaning business that I run actually is fantastic because I can go there at 11 o'clock at night if I need to, or at 4 o'clock in the morning. That sort of keeps me afloat, paying rents and all sorts of things, food, daily costs of living, petrol, etc.
But it also, I guess then it gives you the opportunity not to make compromises with your art.
The cleaning business?
Yeah, just like...
Totally. And it's also physical, so it gets me out of my headspace. My work is quite cerebral, and it gets me into my physical body, and I'm doing something completely, it's a no-brainer in a way. It's a really great job because I don't have to deal with anything or anybody. It's just me, it's not a responsibility in a way that another kind of profession is, where you come home and you start thinking, did I say the right thing? This cleaning business I've got is fantastic because it's so flexible, and it means that I can go away to the studio in Bali and work there really intensely full time and also have an income.
Bravo. That's exactly. I do that in a gym. So but I have to pay to get to the gym, but I completely understand the point where you want to, I guess, not to underestimate the work, right? To use a different part of your brain.
Yes.
And, let those processes sort of happen in the back.
Yes.
Take a break from your, thinking and conceptual and...
Yeah, I think with creativity, or sort of that kind of creative output as artists, that we're constantly processing that in our subconscious. So whether you're making art physically or not, I think that absorbing through your eyes into, whatever transformation that has or translation that has in your deeper consciousness is always going to be there. So if you're not making, So, for instance, when I was doing that full-time job with Melbourne Pathology for 8 months or whatever it was, I was processing a lot of my creative work, I think, in that job. So when I went back to the studio, which I thought was the most daunting thing because I'd had this big year-long gap, it wasn't too long until I was like right inside like the realms of creativity. But I also think that we need time out and time to be inspired, e.g. going to the movies, walking in nature, blah, 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 to process that extreme creativity or drive to kind of create work.
Yeah, just like nothing, I guess. Well, it's not nothing, but it's just a space.
Yeah, it's a sort of like a meditative space. And I guess I get all of that through my really deep Kundalini yoga practice and meditation every day in the morning.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
For how long? Could you tell me?
I go from anything from 45 minutes to an hour and 15 or an hour and a half.
Wow. How when did you start with the
Kundalini yoga?
Or maybe meditation, like how
meditation? Well, it's been sporadically there since my early 20s, but I never really took it up like a serious thing, like it is in, I mean serious as in this is my medicine every day. So getting into that deep like space of nothingness in the morning and just chanting sound current mantras is a really powerful way to really focus my mind and allow that other part, like the crystallization of the cells really, to get into that quantum frequency, like into the vibration of your energy. And that's what creativity is about for me too. Sometimes it's not about that I know everything or that I know what's going on. It's more about allowing the energy of my hand to move over my paper. So the best way to achieve a focus and sort of energy to produce is to actually go into that meditative state, which I chant mantras, and I also do a very quite demanding physical workout, which is about strengthening the aura. So creating a very strong aura around my body so that I'm able to carry that emotional energy in a way that it's not bringing me down, or other energies aren't going to get into my sort of sphere and I need a clear path to make my work, otherwise I can be emotional wreck.
It seems like it's grounding, or like just you can connect with yourself, because for example every morning I write, like just stream of consciousness. I've been doing this for, I don't know, maybe 5 years. And then I also additionally, sometimes when I really feel like there's something within me, I really want to, translate it into music or any sort of sound, then I write more. And I feel like it really gets me in touch with myself. I really struggle with meditation and I'm very impatient and very just go, 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 go.
I have books of writing, so I used to do that. So I learnt it from the artist way years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was years and years ago. So I started doing that, and it is fantastic. And actually I recently did some because I didn't know what else to do. So I just started writing, and that was really great. So that is a tool. It's a fantastic one. I totally.
Yeah, I'll put it into the newsletter for anyone who's interested. It's like really, for me, it just like opens up. You can, because the first page is like, it's nothing. The second page, you can sort of feel the glimpses, like you can feel something is going through. And then on the third page, it's when like all the shit, pardon my French, like comes out, and you're like, I'm ready. I can now. I'm there.
Yes. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So
I think like people find meditation so hard because it's not the norm, right?
Mm.
So it's not our normal disposition to just stop and zone into the black infinity, right? So when you shut your eyes and you go up into your third eye to start with, it's just like blackness, and then your mind just starts chattering, right? And so, and you can't sit with yourself. You can't but I decided that for a long period of time, I had a very up and down life, emotional life. So at one point I got really tough with myself, and I said to myself, that's it. You're going to do everything you don't want to do, and meditation and yoga and all that stuff. And I challenged myself intensely, especially at the start when I was doing Bikram yoga. I decided that I'd do everything opposite to what I wanted to do. So, everything that I couldn't do, I would do. Like, so I'd use my both hands to do things, not just my right hand or my left hand. I'd use both hands.
Wow.
So we're even squeezing things. And now what that does is it rewires your brain, and then you start to cope better. And you start to, there's another, I don't know if this is right, but for me, my experience, I feel like it opened up another door for my creativity or to produce work. Like, that's what I have to do. Like, I throw myself into extreme circumstances until they become very ordinary.
And do you think that you have to continue doing that? Like getting yourself out of your comfort zone in order to gain access to, I guess, another perspective? Or
I think I've done that, and now I've come to a point where I'm on this particular meditation and yoga, and that in the mornings is a challenge. So I say, look, one of the kriyas is 9 minutes, and a kriya is an action. So it's a set of 3 minutes, right? It's 3 minutes. And I say to myself, okay, this is 9 minutes, apart from all the other stuff I do in the morning. This is 9 minutes of pain to 9 years of pain. Sorry, you know what I mean? 9 minutes on the mat doing this where it's really uncomfortable. My mind's screaming, just stop now, like, or don't, make it the time less, or do it for 1 minute. That's our minds, right? And we always want to be relaxed or, doing what we want to do. But when I just stick with it, now it's not so hard, but it's like, I believe that, building that up right now, every second is your future. So this is my future. So what am I training myself to do? Am I training myself to not to give up, or am I training myself to resist and move into greater realms? Where do I want to be? I want to be in the cosmic realm, in that dimension, in those frequencies. I don't want to be, sitting slumped in a kind of depressive state because things aren't going my way. So that's why I always, in that time on the mat in the morning, I challenge myself. Because then once I've done that and I come into the studio is not a challenge anymore. It's a joy.
Yeah, one of my friends, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like completely quote him, but he was saying, when you do that hard thing immediately, everything else is just easier, in the day. And like if you go, in my case, if I'm like really not feeling it, but I do still go to the gym, or if I'm not feeling it, but I still sit down in the studio and write down, it's really interesting. But every single time, 10 minutes after, it's sort of like, all good, everything is okay.
Yeah.
You forget about that.
Yeah.
And when I first encountered your work through drawings, initially through drawings, I was really just stunned. It was at the same time I wanted to see them all at once, but also I wanted to get closer to each one of them. But what I want to say also is that it, in a way, it screams organized discipline. And now we started this conversation with, every morning I wake up and I go through this challenge, through this semi-torture. You seem like a very organized
person. I'm extreme, I have to admit. I know other people maybe who do this kind of discipline that I have. But the reason why I'm doing it is because I could be absolutely the most laziest person in the universe, right? But I don't exist like that. But I know there's that side of me that just wants to lie on the couch, watch TV all day, and eat chocolate and rice pudding. That's yeah, but then there's this other part of me that is has an extreme inspiration or passion inside that makes me want to do this.
And I guess you chose that
Yeah, I
over
chose that. But then I
rice
have to
pudding.
train it too. I have to train
I know.
that.
Would you say it's like a everyday exercise, right? Like
Yeah.
through the meditation,
Yeah.
choosing that side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's very evident through your work and like through all the success that you've made.
Yeah.
Would you say that discipline is, and then we'll go into the conversation about the actual work that you do. But would you say that that's a key to success? Let's keep it in the artist
Definitely.
area.
I think not being lazy and having discipline is a very good thing to have if you want to get somewhere with your work, you know, like to start with before you expect to be asked into shows. You need to do the work and you need to not be lazy. And you know, if it's too painful and too much of a struggle, then just think about doing something else, like another career for a while. Because I gave up everything, like for a while there. I hated it. I hated everything. I hated life. I just, you know, so I gave up and I thought I'm going to be going to neuromedicine or some wacky things like this in my mind. And then I went and did the, you know, pathology course and got the job. But it was like, I got the inkling, that calling to go back to my art and music. And then once I got out of that corporate job, I realized I'm not those people. Like I don't fit in there, you know.
I guess
At the staff room, they were talking about their renovations and their children at school, and
how was your weekend?
I was on the outside, you know what I mean? Like, so I was like really uncomfortable. I didn't fit in at all. And so I thought, this is not me. Like, I'm actually an artist. And that's when I realized, you know, I really am an artist, like, because I don't think this way and I feel this drive to, you know, create things. And so that's, yeah, I think to be an artist, you need to be smart about it because, or a musician, like, because I've got many musician friends because I went through music school. But I think you need to be very honest with yourself that, you know, I would never, ever give up my other jobs for just, even if I've got success now and I'm got money coming, I would never give up my other jobs because with art, sometimes you're on and then you're completely off and there's nothing going on. And those times, in the lowest times for me, the times that I observe myself, because they're the times that I want to be the most happiest, because that's when you know that, is this a healthy thing for me or is it not? And I think some people hold on to these ideas for too long and they don't go out and get themselves proper jobs or anything like that because they're sacrificing it for their art. But I don't think that's worth it. I think that's really dangerous because you can prosper in a whole life, but also have an art practice. And then maybe one day the art will start to get so vigorous that you can actually become a full-time artist. But even if I'm a full-time artist now, I'm not going to give up my other jobs because it's important.
Yeah, for the balance. Yeah, the balance, right. Yeah, right on point. I can just nod my head and echo everything you say. I really but okay, discipline. Yeah, great wall of discipline. I feel like I always go back to that. If everything goes down, you can always get back to discipline. Well, your work is in a true sense a multidisciplinary practice, which encompasses scoring, so musical performance, drawing, even textiles, light, work with architecture. So some examples are installations at the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Fed Square, and now we're going to shortly mention it, the installation that you have in Brighton.
Yes.
But what I've noticed is that it's always related to a specific architectural building. It's site specific, surrounding built environment or a specific architectural site. I'm curious, what comes first? Is it the space, architectural space, or built environment that draws you in to start thinking about it, or
it's the budget?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's all about money. Just joking. No,
Yeah.
it's the sight that comes first, because without the sight I can't write music, right? So that's how I write music. I don't do it the other way.
So it's your canvas in a sense, or like a
yeah, like
source
it's
of.
like, what do they call it? The Sibelius or something like that. That's my canvas, is the actual site. So the site doesn't have to be a building. It could be a boat. It could be water. It could be dirt. Like, it's just whatever's site I'm appointed to, I'll go in and just, that's where it starts.
And I've read a couple of interviews you've given, and you said that it's like a self-reflexive process for you, and it's all about translation and interpretation and communication. So it's a very multi-layered, multi-perspective process.
How do you really, if you say you're creating the voice of a space, well, how do you give it a voice? Do you just go and do a kind of superficial analysis of it, or do you go deep inside it and observe absolutely everything from the walls, floors, inside the framework, the engineering, all that sort of stuff, and then you start to develop a whole system? That's how I draw out the system that I create, that then creates the music score that I hand write.
So is it and yeah, feel free, I'm just thinking out loud actually. So is it the capacity of a space to engage us and stimulate and those intangible aspects of the space that have the power to awaken something within us, right? Is that something that you start off from? Is it is it more like ephemeral, elusive, or is it?
No, take myself into the space. So I start observing the space, so the energy,
okay,
throughout the space. And I start to observe every nuance. So looking for like how it's moving, how you're moving around the space, and what the shapes and the undulations may be, the materials of the space. Often I'll visit a space deep into the night, early morning, throughout the day, because I'm watching it change with the sun and the elements. So when it rains is a great time for me to go and observe a space, like the out facade of a space.
So it's also the sound of rain, how it actually affects the space, perhaps. Or
yeah, like it's just all about how it's working alchemically with the environment, how the atmosphere is on the outside, all that sort of stuff that changes the material. It changes it and it turns it darker, or it makes it brighter, or it's reflective, or like there's many really subtle nuances that I'm looking for, because knowing those things for myself, that is my secret key into like how I'm going to bring that atmospheric element of the space into the language of the music score, in terms of harmony, in terms of the modes it switches through the keys, and then when it gets down to the other stuff, like the rhythmic kind of language and stuff like that, that comes down to all the mathematics of the engineering, and how the engineering, how it's structured, like what, where are what are the rivets, where are the nuts and bolts from, how are they made, so that all informs the way that I can write the music, because they are directly related for me, in terms of both languages. So once I get all that information, I start to really analyze it in terms of like, what is the most closest aspects of the orchestra, the language of music that relates to the way that bolt is produced and made, and how many points on it does it have, like 8, 6, that all makes sense. That's the language of the architecture.
Yeah, exactly.
into the language of the music, because music is time and numbers, right? So
Yeah.
it's a sort of in terms of writing
Yes,
classical
yeah.
music, you know, orchestrating. So this is the depth of the elements that I need to actually directly translate that voice or whatever it is of the kind of the clothes of the architecture.
Yeah, I can't. It immediately reminds me of Gaston Bachelard book, French philosopher, The Poetics of Space, and how space is a place that's filled with our thoughts, our beings. There's a certain there's so much within a space that's not just the tangible.
Absolutely. And that's what I noticed, that is a direct there is a direct relationship, the way that space anywhere is constructed around us, even in nature, even on a road, that makes us constantly feel some sort of an alertness in our senses. So, we can look at something and smell it, but we can't, it's not smelling, but we could look at something in the distance and smell it, right? Because that's the architecture of space and the language of the architecture, right? But also with music, it happens the same way, through this invisible current coming at you. So with music, it's a sound, invisible sound waves coming at you, and it's actually dictating your whole emotion, right? So you put on heavy metal and you start slashing around, like headbanging or whatever. Then you put on some sort of classical piece. It might make you feel like dancing, or make you feel very, very extremely drawn to the emotion of it. Or, you put on some other piece and it makes you feel sick and hate it. And, it just brings up this invisible construction of time and space, which is both in architecture and music. That is what is governing our quantum consciousness, right? Because we all get that. We all feel that. There's been books written about it. It's what we know this, right? So all I'm doing is actually stating that.
Yeah, making more
in the third mind.
Yeah.
In the third, this one I'm talking about the third mind. So that is what happens when it collides, in my understanding.
Yeah, I think it's just really what you've said yourself, like the whole translation, using yet another language, being it a musical performance or a very interdisciplinary piece of work, to say something that's already there. It's just interpreted differently. How long does it take you to develop?
I like to look. It's really hard, because these are commissions that sometimes, because museums can be so booked up, that they want it in a short period of time, when I should have 2 years to do it. So that's why I'm frantically working on this work, because I've only had like a year or something, or less than a year, to produce the work. And so that really, my ideal is that I get no less than a year to produce the work. And that's pretty much working full time on it. So 2 years would have been nice. But anyway, like depending on the size of the place and the project also.
I suppose that because you've been mentioning the engineering works and the rivets and etc. So I'm guessing that you
Harbour Bridge.
Okay.
Once we start talking, everything just goes into a massive kind of this, that.
Yeah, I know. It's just like that's good. That's good for a podcast. I know. Look, I am aware of the format, that it's really not the best way, and this is a very complex and thorough and so many things. And we're talking while you're talking. I'm also looking at the drawings, and I'm just and moments unable to respond, and in moments just really captivated by their presence and then immediately thinking, oh my goodness, this is exactly what it is, right? Like, you know, when you can sense a presence of something that's on the walls and you're translating that into a musical performance or a light installation or score to begin with.
There's no guessing, let's say. Sounds weird, doesn't it? But it's with my work, it's all documented, it's all transcribed, it's all it's there's not me looking at a drawing and going, that curve sounds like this, or something like this. That's not, I'm actually writing out the language in the drawings. So it becomes its own mathematical equation. Okay, and so it becomes, they are measured. Every mark that is in the drawing is a measured equation, and it's also it's slicing through 3 octaves constantly in the drawings. So there's an actual really powerful code or system that I have that is not just guessing what these entities, you know, the shapes are quite like entities, but they're actually deliberate because they're actually taken, in this case, from the Lenlight archive.
Again, we're back to discipline, rules, structure, which is really interesting because now you got me thinking, oh, wow, it's like going from a discipline into a chaos, but then again, allowing chaos to happen, and chaos, I'm not sure that it's chaos really, but then allowing and then bringing discipline again back into that chaos. And it's a completely different organizing it, but in a freely way, in a new, like through new lenses. I'm just trying to understand, and I feel like, I can see that.
Sort of like swimming into the chaos for me, like deep diving into those really electric, kind of chaotic moments in some of the drawings.
But letting things to happen, but then also taking control of them.
No, actually, the drawing process is very. It's not second guessing anything. It's like really quite immediate. It's not controlled in a major way. You know what I mean? Like, but there is a lot of control in there. But it's I can't say that it's
well, that's why you have the work.
Just these are deliberate. They might look like squiggles, but they're deliberate. They're absolutely, if you notice, not one squiggle is the same. So maybe the line in one of them is the same, but in every single picture, the line is of a different width, of a different rhythmic flow. So it might go from thin to thick, thin to thick, thin to thick. So that's, you know, every single mark in every single drawing is different, and every single pattern or symbol is different. There's not one the same. So it's deliberate. It's all deliberate.
How did you start? When was the first time that you... was there a first very like distinct...
I first started, well, at VCA in art school. I went through music school, but in art school, I was very dismissive of sound and music. I hated it with a vengeance. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm an artist. Like, and I'm do these textile works back then, and I, you know, do what I do in my artwork. And then one of the lecturers, Bernard Saxon, my wonderful head of painting, Janine Eaton and Kim Donaldson and all those amazing people, and Kate Dorr, was always like, you know, we can see like time in this and rhythm. And I was like, don't, shut up. I don't want anything to do with music. Anyway, as I progressed, say second year it was, like later in second year, you know, people were saying, oh, there's this sound art show and there's this, you know, art exhibition with sound artists and stuff. And I thought, you know, I'm actually seriously musically trained, and I gave it all up, and I'm in the art school now, and people are saying that they're seeing this kind of sound things, which I thought was rubbish at the time, because I thought they were faking it to me because they knew that I was doing music. I'd done music. Anyway, so I decided to go around and look at sound art shows and things. And for me, I understand why those artists do that stuff and why they feel the need to, measure frequencies on walls of buildings and stuff like that, or why they say that the color red is this sound or something, or, I understand what the investigation or the desire to use sound like that in that way. But I found that a lot of it was sort of just sadly not contained and not a kind of, it was just like making noises for the sake of making noises. So noise sound, which I studied a lot of, especially the beginnings of the futurists and things like that. It's like that there was no real kind of connection between what the noise sound or the soundscape or whatever. Why? Like what? Why is that concrete block that? Or why is that wall resonating at that frequency for you? Like, I didn't see the connection, right? Or I'd go and see a video art, which was a cinematic piece. Now that's, for me, that did not move exactly with the for me, that's more about making film.
Yeah.
But so then I thought, this is interesting. And then I thought, well, what is the relationship between, visual and sound, like really, truly? And why even bother, really? That was my questions back then. Like, what's the point of doing all this with sound and thing? Anyway, then I started to look at translating orchestral scores I started going to video art, all sorts of things. But then I realized that there was an absolute relationship between the exact nature of like the elements of music, so time and sound, so time and color in terms of harmony, all that sort of stuff, all the everything comes together like a minestrone soup or a recipe. And then I realized that because I love there's nothing more abstract or creative to me than orchestral scores. They are some of the most out there, incredible, crazy entities that ever exist, right? So people think by making electronic noise, all that stuff, that's out there. It's not for me. It's not. Because you look at it, a score by all the big composers and things, that is wild. That is tripped out shit. Like who could do that? Anyway, so I was just like blowing my mind with looking at these. And then I started to work out how do I make them exactly each other? Like, so how do I make it, the sound and the visuals be exactly each other? So I worked out that there's 18 digital frames in a metronomic crotchet equals 80. And I started to then subdivide rhythmically all the score into the way that the visuals were moving. And that was fantastic. So I behind all these people talking was like the Shostakovich Symphony 12. So they're going, like that. So it was completely cacophonous, but it was the absolute direct score governing the way that all these people were talking.
That's very practical. It's like very evident. Like
So that's when I started to realize back then that I had understood something for myself about how I can control the true relationship for me between the visual and the sound in technicalities, in the languages of them, which I'm interested in. I'm interested in that because we communicate. Art is about communicating, I think. It's about, so language, there's all different languages around the world, of course, and ways that we communicate with gesture, everything. So going into those finite
Intricacies,
parts of them is how you connect, you put all the pieces together. So that's what I've continued to develop, and now it's more about me going physically into spaces and researching and stuff like that. So it's been a huge journey. It's been many years of studying this thing that drives me to want to express it.
But again, it's like a very strong focus. It's very clear that you know where you're at. It doesn't seem like you deviated from your path. You've been there all the time. It's the same path. It's just allowing other things to come in as you learn more about them. Well, that's like how I see it. Look, this is me now explaining your work.
It's like a jazz musician who knows knows the foundations and the movements between chord progressions so well that he can fly right outside the chords. Yeah. But he can in an instant he can snap back into where they are in the form. He knows the form and the structure and the music so well that his free improvisation, which I could say is like my drawings in a sense, that the squiggles on top of the really regimented architectural drawings is the spontaneity, but I'm in control of it all. I know where I can come back in and say, right, well, that part is this, and that sounds like this. So it's a sort of that kind of thing. I think, to really get yourself into a language of your own, you need to repeat and you need to work at understanding what it is that you are trying to say and develop that language really powerfully. And then you can go right outside, you can do other things, you can explore but you can always come back to that framework, that keeps it tight and expressive and alive and electric,
But also it keeps you in check in a way. I feel like that's, at least for me, it's like there's this place, there's this knowledge, this ground zero, but it's not zero, where it's like, I know this, it's muscle memory. It's muscle memory. You don't have to think about it. Like
practice makes perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, back to discipline. But I love this.
And then there's like another thing I want to say. That what it keeps you into is a continuity.
Consistency, or like
a continuous kind of flow. Like, so the infinite flow of like creativity. There's no blockages anymore.
But you think you have to nurture that creativity as well?
I never feel any more blocked. Like, I used to get blocked when I was learning about what I was doing and struggling. That struggle at the start with being an artist is immense. Like the intense feeling of that is horrible, actually. It's very painful. And I had plenty of blocks where I was just like, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not, and comparing and despairing. But then once I really zoned in and I just started to really believe in what I was doing and really understand that there was I worked out something, it clicked, especially that happened in Cuba. Then I never have a problem now. So it's wonderful. I've just got this, it's like I'm in a dimension and I'm just on the ride, just going forth.
Wow, that's great. that's envious. Is that how you say it? Many people you would envy you in that sense. But I think,
understandably,
in my opinion, it's all about nurturing the way I help myself. And I'm not saying that I'm there at the same point as you are. I think I'm still learning and like changing and slowly transitioning from one practice perhaps into another or whatever. But I think what really made a difference for me was making time, appearing, making sure that I always have room to be creative, to appear, to sit down and do it.
Absolutely.
And then it sort of becomes your routine, it becomes what you do, and you stop thinking about what you're going to do today. You just know that you'll be doing it.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Discipline. So I just wanted to say one more thing about don't think that for one moment, I say that about that I'm on this constant, dimension now where I'm just able to produce the work because I'm so strong in my language. I've developed my own language. I've developed my own systems, my own codes. I know what I'm doing. I can be employed anywhere basically and do it. But don't forget the years of struggle I've been through, the rejections, the really full-on rejections, not getting hardly any grants at all, never being included in sound art shows for years. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've been through the absolute pits in the arts. I should have been the one that just gave it up and was angry and writing on social media all this shit about the arts but that was I knew deep down inside me, this is where you've got to believe. You've got to believe in what you want to give a precious gift. For me, it was more about this gift of giving. It's a seva almost. It's something that I do as an offering while I'm here, and to encourage others to find that. But man, I could talk till the cows come home about my years of rejection as an artist and not getting grants and not being and being out in the outer and not included in sound art shows and being rejected from a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I've had wonderful success too, and my success is now quite prominent and amazing, because inside that whole time, in those tough times when I thought nothing was ever going to happen for me, I was I knew that I had something, and I just kept staying with it through that period of time, and just believing in what I really wanted to say as an artist and musician. And that now has flourished into this. So that's something really important that all artists should know, and creatives and musicians.
I can't think of a better way to end this episode, you know what I mean? Like, you got me thinking, you got me today, today it's not my best day, so this is, doing me well. Thank you.
Nikad stvarno zadovoljna, uvijek samo najgora.